I like the direction of our team. We've had 2 major scrimmages and 2 small situation scrimmages, and it's been a good, tough team. Been a good, hard camp up to now, and a lot of really competitive practices. Those of you that have visited us have seen the Jayhawk drill, and it's one that our guys have enjoyed and look forward to. If you can look forward to, defeating a teammate and man in hand-to-hand combat. So I like where we're at. The newcomers, Mason Fairchild at tight ends, a guy that's going to play significant football for us. Dejon Terry, nose tackle, same 6'4"-ish, 330-ish, and but a really talented guy. Gavin Potter moved from outside linebacker to inside linebacker and has made the transition extremely well, has a real knack for play. Stephen Parker, outside linebacker, is, again, the young guy that's doing really, really excellent work. And Marcus Harris, defensive tackle that joined us, is also a guy that's, playing a lot of football. So I had one of the first ever moments. I never have given scholarships out to freshmen, to walk-ons in a loud public way, because there's probably 10, 15, 20 guys who are tremendously responsible and play for us on a day-to-day basis, and that don't have scholarships. And so I've always kind of kept it between me and the young man who was going to get the scholarship. And but this guy was different and special. He's a 4-point student. He's tougher than nails. You recognize the name because of how he plays, and everybody was for it. And I talked to my staff, and I got staff knowledge. I obviously did not tell the team until we walked in. But when Sam Burt was announced, the team came out of their seats to the front of the room to congratulate him. And just before the announcement, and as it was displayed, there was going to be some information forthcoming. Somebody said at a distance, "I hope it's a scholarship." Not anybody that was up here. And then his team, in an outpouring of emotion, just loved on him. And it was sweet. It was a wonderful experience, and like I said, it was a once in a lifetime, first time I should say, opportunity for me to do that in public. So let's see, should I go into quarterbacks too, or should I wait for you guys to ask that question? I might as well, right? McVitie and Carter Stanley are still the front runners. There's a Miles lad that's there that's competing, Manny Miles, and Torrey Lachlan, Miles Fallon, Miles Kendrick are guys that are all took snaps in what was yesterday's scrimmage, and I made it very clear very quickly that there would be no chance that if you weren't 6'3" or above, or if your last name or first name or any name was Miles, that you would have a better chance than if, in fact, you didn't have a Miles associated to your name. So McVitie is a height piece. Stanley's a height piece. Manny Miles, of course, has a chance. Miles Kendrick certainly has a chance. And Miles Fallon certainly has a chance because, what the hell, we like Miles kids. So, any questions?
Please raise your hand so we can get a microphone to you.
Since you brought up quarterbacks, what are you waiting to see from the front runners? What have you not seen that you're kind of waiting?
I just want to get to the, I like how they're progressing. They're not perfect, but they're making really all the throws. Okay, they just as in everything, has to be just a smidge more consistent. And I think they're doing the things that they need to do, period. But I've always waited till the end. And, as an example, somebody gets nicked and you have just announced all of your confidence and this is the guy and let me pat him on the back one more time, and suddenly he comes up a little lame and you're playing the guy that that you did not give a vote of encouragement, and so my opinion is these guys are real close. They both know that they're close, and we'll let it play out.
So do you think it'll be game week then by the time you announce the starter, or will it be before?
Game week or just after the game. Of course, the announcement at that point in time is, not necessarily the most urgent piece of information that you give them, right? So.
Anyone else?
Les, I guess, is there anything that surprised you since you've taken this job that might be more of a challenge than you anticipated it being, or anything that you might be better equipped to handle than you thought you might when you took the job?
There's nothing that that surprises me anymore with the number of years and three head coaching opportunities that I've had. So I know what's coming and what's what to expect from my players and coaches. So to answer you, I kind of anticipated kind of where we would be, and I was pleased. I think I get really good players. I think I have good men. I think the people, that will take the field for Kansas or will care for the guys that are wearing that same blue. And I think it's going to be a challenge to win games and to win championships. I think we'll be ready for the challenge.
Scott?
You mentioned Gavin Potter. I'm just curious, what first drew you to him in recruiting?
I didn't get there was a little malfunction in the microphone. Right, Gavin. I know Gavin Potter. It said something about recruiting. What
drew you at first in recruiting, and
what drew him?
What drew him?
Drew us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. What we do is we do our own evaluation. We don't do anybody else's evaluation. We take nobody else's evaluation, to bear. What we do is we look at the guys and we see mobility. Probably runs 4.5, 6, 2-ish, 6, 1.5. Two-time state champion in wrestling. In his film from high school was he knew how to play it. He made tackles. He was in, and we recruited him. And I'm an ex-grappler, and I enjoyed hearing stories of what he went through. So it was pretty easy. Nobody had to be sold. He was a really, really and is a really good player.
Back in the back.
Mitchell Summers with WIBW. What were some of the goals that you were hoping to have accomplished by this point, and looking forward to when the season starts? What are some more goals you're hoping to accomplish?
I think team toughness, and I think we're continuing to push that. I think our guys understand that. They understand that when they take the field, that they have to be ready to play in difficult situations, let alone, be able to return the physicality that your opponent is willing to play with. So, So what was the second part?
What more goals?
Second goals. Our football team needs to improve, okay? And it needs to improve across three boundaries: offense, defense, and special teams. We're doing that, and I want to get our first game played underway and see exactly where we're at. So that's I like who we are. I like how we play in practice. I think we'll fare well, and I think the standard will be after the first game.
Back in the back.
Coach Miles, do you feel that when you see the Kansas name being brought up more in social media, it's more in a positive light than it has been in the past? Do you feel the kind of change with the players and the attitude of the players as they now know that Kansas isn't necessarily a name that they're thinking of in the past, but they see that the future's bright?
Yeah, I think I think our players, anticipated there would be a new feeling here in this room, okay? And I've asked them to be responsible to that, and they have, and it's been a wonderful piece. Now, in terms of social media and the reception, if you will, of Kansas football, I didn't know what to expect, and it seems that there is a very strong positive here, and I kind of like it. Kind of like the way it feels.
Brian?
Coach, you talked
Brian.
about the quarterback competition. 2 weeks in, at what other position groups are you seeing the tightest camp battles going on?
Let's see. I'm probably looking at in the secondary. I think with the idea that the Hawk, a guy that's really going to play some significant football. It looks like Bryce Tornado is going to be moved a little bit towards a safety spot, and Azur Kamara would be more of the Hawk. Okay, I'm not certain how that's going to play out, but those are two really good players, and we'll have to see.
Last, the offensive line coming in on paper looked to be one of the strengths of this team. How are you feeling about them now? Has there been anyone that's come up and jumped out at you? And has there been any rotation or position changes around there?
Well, the good news is Luke Meadows, the line coach, has got a nice rotation, and I haven't seen it as much before, but all of our guys are almost interchangeable parts, and it's really given us a lift. I think we're very comfortably too deep, and with some seniors certainly that are starting and playing. But Akeem Adeniji is in my opinion, one of the bright tackle prospects of our conference, and at left tackle, Malik Clark, is going to be a big, strong man. I mean, there's some talented guys there. Our centers are going to be interchangeable parts with Appy Main and Andrew Tovey, and those two guys are probably both play in our games interchangeably. And Chris Hughes is right guard, and again, big, strong, physical, athletic guy. And then the right tackle, McCauley and Fetter, that group should play at a very high level, okay? And I know that I have confidence in the coach, this coach in that position, and I think our players look forward to coming to practice, and I think we'll have a nice offensive line.
Raise your hand if you have a question.
You were talking about newcomers earlier. When you, as a coach, when you kind of know that you're going to have to play some guys that are that young, is there any level of concern that comes with that? Just you don't know, you never seen them in a Big 12 game.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. We've had two 16, 18 play short situation scrimmages and two really lengthy scrimmages. One where you were giving your players, say, 45 snaps, okay, times two. And so that is, let's just say, half a game. Let's call it half a game. Okay. During that time, you get a feel for who those men are. Okay, and the youth is, when it's not a deterrent, it's a real positive. Okay, I saw Parker and Gavin Potter after practice. I mean, we just had a slugfest of a practice, long, hot. It was before we had learned how to turn the air conditioning on at the indoor. Okay, and these two guys are playing one-on-one touch football. Will really look more like tackle football in shorts, and being thrown to by one of the coach's daughters. Okay, and I just watched those two guys play really well in scrimmage play, and they're having fun playing. I think those two guys would be guys that you'd like to put in the game, and because their self-interpretation and what's going to happen in those 4 quarters are going to be really good things. So.
Let's take a couple more. Matt?
Could you evaluate what you've seen out of Torrey Loughlin so far and see the type of player that could potentially make an impact this year?
I think Torrey's a guy that it's youthful and has a strong arm, athleticism, and I think he will, certainly eventually play some significant snaps. I'm not ready to say he's progressed in an advanced position, but I would not be afraid to play him in games. So.
Chris?
Coach, what are your thoughts about the role of football, a successful football team in the life of a university this time of year, both within the setting a tone for the athletics department and also some enthusiasm campus-wide?
Yeah, I can't imagine a quality college town without a great football team, and I think you'll find that this team will understand that and want to be a part of the festivity of that surrounds a very quality football team. So it's never going to be about the kind of day that it was. It's always going to be about the kind of team that it was. So I think we understand it, and I think that we're looking forward to being a part of it.
We have time for one more. Anyone?
mentioned the JOC drill earlier. Like, how long have you been doing that specific drill as a head coach, and what did you used to call it at other places? If you ran it?
There are no other places. But I've been doing the Jayhawk drill at the places that I was at, really from the beginning. So there's different pieces to it. There's there's a goal line tackle, which is a really a physical piece. And then there's basically an offensive blocker and a defensive, player that would take that offensive blocker and shed him and be ready for a tackle, even if the tackle wasn't there. So I think it's a fundamental drill. I think our guys look forward to it, and I think it gets the practice started fast.
Thank you, everyone. The rest of the meeting day will be in the indoor facility, so we'll head over there and get set up.
Men, nice to see you. Damn, yeah, my pleasure.